is an online journal aimed at provoking thought and opinion, with the hope to start and deepen conversations between communities and within communities, out of which we may become a better world.
I think my next one would be to say anyone can make an honest mistake, and I'm particularly proud of this one.
Well, you can see why people enjoy coming to events where they appear. I find it to be one of the most interesting conversation that they have when they're in debate, and when they are thinking about what they put forward, you can actually take a look at their books as well. And let's remember, as you think about it, don't forget to take a look at God is Not Great, How Religion Poisons Everything, and Dinesh D'Souza's book, What's So Great About Christianity. Now, as we go forward, we're going to open it up for questions, and I was able to secure some questions from a number of people who are here this evening. And so I thank you for doing the work of taking the time to submit these questions. And I'm going to direct them to individuals, and then you have 2 minutes for a response. And so that you're going to see an opportunity, even after this debate, to go look at the websites related to what they do and what they talk about. And I encourage you to do that. And one will make sense to you, and the other one will not make sense to you. One you will choose, and the other one you will deny. You'll do it perhaps the other. And you have the benefits and the consequences. Now, question number one for Christopher Hitchens from Chris Davis, who I believe is here tonight. You have mentioned the historical record of leaders who claim to be Christian committing atrocities. However, how can you consider that a valid measuring stick, since a-religious nations under leadership like Stalin have accounted for tens of millions of deaths of their own citizens?
Yes. I understand the question very well, and it's usually asked by people who don't know anything about Eastern Orthodoxy. And do not know that Stalin maintained, as Russia has always maintained, a state church that praised him. He took great care and trouble to keep on his side, and don't know that to this day the Russian Orthodox Church produces icons with the faces of Stalin and other great Russian nationalist dictators. They have to be Russian, by the way. They can't be Georgian or Chechen or anything else on them. And this is a very old history that goes back to Tsarism and to the idea that there is a holy Christian special character to the Russian people that is best expressed when it can't be done through serfdom, through dictatorship, slavery, and other means. There's nothing secular about Joseph Stalin's, let alone atheist, about Joseph Stalin's dictatorship, which was one of witch hunts, show trials, inquisitions, heresy hunts, and all the rest of it. For Mr. Davis's question to be a valid one, and to say, I show you what theocratic dictatorships, from fascism, Hirohito, the Inquisition, the Russian Orthodox serfdom, and the rest of it are like, and now you contrast, you give me the non-theistic counter-example. That person would have to come, Mr. Davis would have to come to me and say, here's a society, we can point to it, that decided to teach its children and its citizens that the main people worth studying were Lucretius and Epicurus and Galileo and Spinoza and Thomas Jefferson and Thomas Paine and Albert Einstein, and that society fell into immorality, slavery, bankruptcy, and war. And then we'll have a level playing field for this discussion. But so far, we haven't hauled humanity far enough away from the horrible temptations of religion and absolutism to make that comparison.
Question two.
Now, the questions to, is any rebuttal or none at all?
I hadn't really thought about that. You have 1 minute.
Fine by me.
Okay with you? We'll do the,
Hang on a second.
how about the 2-minute answer?
This is now a very novel debate. We now have a rebuttal on the simple question, please.
My rebuttal is just an appeal to applying a fair standard. If you're going to hold the Muslims responsible for bin Laden, if you're going to hold the Christians responsible for the Crusades and the Inquisition, why? Because Torquemada professed to be a Christian and carried out things in the name of Christianity. If Christians bear some blame for that, it seems only fair that regimes that do terrible things in the name of atheism, in the name, in other words, of creating a new man and a new utopia, divorced from the shackles of traditional religion, be held accountable for those things. Stalin saw himself as an atheist, as did a whole line of Soviet dictators, beginning with Lenin. And so to then say, well, gee, but you know, the czars had their own secret police, and there happened to be an Orthodox church. Stalin really got the idea from those guys. And by the way, Mao was born a Buddhist, even though he renounced all that and embraced communism and atheist ideology and killed tens of millions of people in the name of this atheist ideology. No, we still get to blame the Buddhists because they were really behind it. What kind of argument is this? If you're going to hold Christians responsible for the crimes of Christianity, let's hold atheism responsible for the crimes of atheism.
But you say in the name of, and there's nothing that was done in these cases was done in the name of atheism. It was done in the name of faith and in the worship and absolute trust in someone who is in one case a seminarian and in the other case, as you say, a Buddhist. You have to compare like with like. Show me a secular regime that admires the philosophy and ideas I've been putting forward this evening that degenerated for that reason.
I'll show it to you.
Otherwise, you have to accept everything, which you hadn't, by the way, up till now. You had not accepted what I'd said about the faith-based and nature of, and the alliance with Orthodox and official Christianity of fascism and National Socialism. And since you didn't decide to take that on before, I think you must agree you have to take it on now.
If you look at let's take three regimes. Pol Pot in Indochina, Mao in China, and Stalin in Russia. Now,
the ones I wasn't asking you about.
The ones that
you've already spoken about.
No, because you asked me to demonstrate that they actually were acting based on atheism. You're acting as though they were tyrants who happened to be atheists. I'm going to show you that their actions were based on an atheist ideology. In other words, these were professedly Marxist regimes. All you have to do is crack open the collected works of Marx to see that religion is a kind of drug that blinds you from social injustice. Marx says, in a sense, that the communist revolution can't come until religion is gotten rid of. And these professed Marxist regimes act based on that ideology. So what more do you want?
You have one more opportunity. And we're going into a new kind of debate. We've got the new atheism. And the new debate. All right, please.
It's amazing the things that people believe people said, like Dr. Johnson never quite said, depend upon it, sir, man when a man knows he's to be hanged, and so forth. Here's what Karl Marx says about religion. Anyone can look it up. It's in the introduction to his critique of Hegel's philosophy of right. He says, religion is the heart of the heartless world. It is the sigh of the oppressed creature. It is the spirit of the spiritless situation. It can be even compared to an opiate for the people. Criticism, he goes on to say, has plucked the flowers from the chain, not so that men may wear the chain without any consolation, but so that they may break the chain and cull the living flower.